One of reality TV's most beloved romances that once looked destined for a walk down the aisle has quietly unraveled. Fan favorite couple Abbey Romeo, 27, and David Isaacman, 31, from Love on the Spectrum have split after 5 years together. No one expected this to happen. After 5 years of building a relationship that looked strong, steady, and full of love, everything suddenly came to an end. And the reason behind it, it's something that has left fans shocked, confused, and honestly a little heartbroken. Abbey and David are no longer together. For many people, they weren't just another couple online. They were seen as real, genuine, and deeply connected. Their journey felt different. It felt honest. And that's exactly why this breakup is hitting harder than most. At first, nothing seemed wrong. There were no public arguments, no dramatic posts, no clear signs that something was falling apart. If anything, everything looked calm, maybe even perfect. But sometimes the biggest issues are the ones you don't see. And this is where things start to shift. Behind the scenes, one topic had slowly started to create distance between them. Marriage, a simple word but one that carries so much weight. For one of them, it was the natural next step. For the other, it wasn't something they were ready for. At first, it didn't seem like a big deal. They talked about it, they tried to understand each other. They didn't rush into decisions. But as time passed, that difference didn't fade, it grew. And when two people you love want different futures, it creates a quiet kind of tension that doesn't go away easily. But that's not the whole story. Fans had already started noticing small changes, subtle ones, the kind you only pick up on if you've been following closely. Fewer shared moments, less interaction, a different kind of energy that felt off. Nothing obvious, nothing dramatic, but enough to make people wonder. Then suddenly everything became clear. The confirmation came out, and just like that, it was over. 5 years of memories, growth, and connection ended with one decision they couldn't agree on. And this is where things get emotional. Because there wasn't a big fight, there wasn't betrayal, there wasn't anything explosive that people could point to and say, that's what caused it. Instead, it was something much quieter and in many ways much more real. Two people who cared about each other, but couldn't align on what came next. What happened next changed everything. The reaction online was immediate. Fans flooded social media with their thoughts, and the responses were all over the place. Some were heartbroken, saying they truly believed Abbey and David would last forever. Others tried to stay neutral, pointing out that marriage is a huge step and not everyone moves at the same pace. And then there were those asking the biggest question of all: could this have been avoided? It's hard to say. Because when it comes to something like marriage, there's no easy compromise. You can't force someone to be ready, and you can't ignore your own hopes for the future. So even though the love may still have been there, the timing was. And sometimes timing is everything. But here, where it gets even more interesting. Instead of turning the breakup into drama, both Abbey and David handled it in a way that surprised a lot of people. There was no public blame, no negative comments, no attempts to create tension, just a quiet, respectful ending. And that made it even harder to watch. Because when there's no villain, no clear reason to be angry, you're left with something else entirely: the feeling of what if. What if they had more time? What if things had been different? What if one of them had changed their mind? Fans can't stop thinking about it. And while there are whispers and speculation about deeper issues, nothing has been confirmed. Maybe there were other factors, maybe there weren't. But without clear answers, the story feels unfinished, like there's still something left unsaid. Now both of them are moving forward separately. New paths, new chapters, new possibilities. But their story hasn't faded. If anything, it's become a reminder of something a lot of people don't like to admit: love alone isn't always enough. Sometimes, even when everything feels right, one difference can change the entire direction of a relationship. And in this case, that difference was the future they each imagined. But here's the question that still lingers. Is this truly the end? Or is this one of those moments where life pulls two people apart, only to bring them back together when the timing finally makes sense? Because if there's one thing we've learned from stories like this, it's that endings don't always stay endings. And maybe, just maybe, this isn't the last chapter of Abbey and David.